Hi, I'm Charlie.
And I'm Cody.
And this week's episode of WX4 features
Scott Baxendale, who converted Kimberly Morgan's acoustic guitar from last week's episode.
Kimberly Morgan.
I thought we covered this.
The sea is cold. Deep down in the fall, just off 24 and my motor has stalled. I've got nobody.
Welcome to the show, Scott.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Good to see you.
Of course.
Thanks.
All right, so we're going to pick a pedal. Each pedal has a question.
Okay.
What do we have on your side, Charlie? What do we got?
This is a MXR Phase 90 in a variable body.
Wow. Yeah.
They did that a couple years ago. This is a classic Ross phaser.
Oh, nice.
Old. This is a boutique pedal from Asheville. It's basically Hendrix in a can with the fuzz, octaver, you got switches.
Cool.
And then, of course, a Roto
Vibe,
which is classic.
Yeah.
So, what would you, if you were like, I have to take one pedal on the road with me and from these four?
Well, it would have to be the Roto Vibe.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Read that
Now
question.
All right.
Let's get through that.
What was my reaction to that Martin hanging on the wall?
Okay. Now, you've been in guitars a long time,
Yes.
and this came out, I think, in the 90s.
Uh-huh.
What is your reaction to this?
Well, my reaction is I used to be, when that guitar was made, I was actually a Martin Warranty Service Center at the time, so I've seen a bunch of those things.
And what did you think? I mean, my generation has its opinion of it.
Well, the notion when it came out as a backpacker guitar, and it came out with a little gig bag backpack that you could carry around, and it was, and the concept at the time was, if it filled a niche in the market that at the time was suitable, and as far as how usable they are, they're not that usable.
I have yet to seen one even get in tune. So what I'm going to do is, as Matt Joyner, our friend who donated this,
Oh, nice.
He was just like, put it on the wall.
Put it.
Although
I've had a few
we've
of those
had
on the
one
wall.
successful song recorded here with one of those. It was Connor Tribble.
Reverend Tribble.
He brought one in. Surprisingly, it was in tune.
But
We made it through the
Reverend Tribble,
songs,
yeah.
and I was like, "That's the only time I've ever seen."
I've heard a
anyone-
few folks put like Fishman pickups in them and then use them electrically where they were usable and compact and easy to transport, which I guess is the main thing.
So we got a lot to cover. So
All right.
let's start at the beginning. When did you start playing guitar?
I started playing the guitar about the next day after I saw the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right. There you go. Okay, so you picked up an acoustic, I'm guessing, was the first thing you grabbed? Or
My
what?
first guitar was a little Silvertone 3/4 Stella guitar, which is, ironically, these days is one of the guitars that we rebuild a lot in our rebuilding process that we do. So that was my first guitar that I had then, and then I had a Teisco electric guitar shortly after that, and so those were my two guitars that I started out with.
The Japanese Teisco.
Yeah.
And I bet you it had a cool sound.
I saved up lawn mowing money and bought it for $22 at the Western Auto.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
And I wish I still had it because I sold it a few years after for about the same amount I paid for it, and I wish I had it now because the pickups are worth like $200 now.
Those weird pickups.
But it was cool.
What were you going to say, Charlie?
Well, we talking about guitars and those type of, down here I think it was Montgomery Ward's was where all those stuff came from.
Sure.
I have a Dan Electro from '64. It's a 4011 with the bat wing.
Right?
That was probably somebody's, Christmas
Does it say
gift.
Silvertone on it, or does it say Dan Electro?
It says Dan Electro.
Like Dan Electro, yeah.
Which, they're all the same.
Well,
one?
Silvertone and Montgomery Ward's are department stores, and so Sears was a department store, and any guitar that says Silvertone just means that Sears sold it. It doesn't tell you who made it. It doesn't even tell you what kind of guitar it is. It just means that it was sold through Sears. And Montgomery Ward's had Airline. That was one of their imprints. And they had Roy Smeck, I think, was sold through Montgomery Ward's. But the Silvertones were sold through Sears. And so, kind of my business these days is remanufacturing these old department store guitars, and most of them were made by two companies in Chicago. You had the K Company and the Harmony Company, and they were both in Chicago, and you can see lots of guitars with K and Harmony on them, but those same guitars can have an imprint for Silvertone or Airline, or like there's probably over 100 different imprints that can be on there. And so say a town in Georgia back in the 1950s wanted to have their own name put on it. They could pay like a setup fee and make a minimum order for the holiday season and buy 50 guitars or something. And they pay the setup fee. That. Right, now the Chinese are doing that.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that they were all made with really good materials and good woods, and their basic design was good. And they just made them crude by how they made the insides of them. They made the insides really crude and really simple. And so, I guess we can get into what I do for a living, which is to remanufacture these old guitars into really quality, professional grade instruments. And that's
what's the name of your business, by the way, so they can.
It's Baxendale Guitar in Athens, Georgia. Yeah.
And how long have you been established here in Athens?
We've been here for 10 years, and then we were in Colorado for about 12 years before that. Okay. This guitar here. That's
your show and tell item.
Right.
Let's go ahead and do show and tell.
Okay. This guitar here, so I dropped out of college. I went to work at Mossman Guitars. Then I left there, and eventually I went to Nashville and worked at Gruen Guitars. And then after I left Nashville, I went back to Winfield for a short time. My wife's family lived there, and we went and stayed with them for a while. And then Stuart Mossman hired me to do some finish work on a batch of guitars he was building. And in exchange, part of the exchange for that was he let me build this guitar. And so I had come from Nashville with all this knowledge about what makes the secrets of the pre-war Martins and Gibsons, what made them so special and spectacular in their sound. And I had all this information in my head about the design of those instruments. So this is the first guitar where I put that design in this guitar. And then this was in 1982 when I built this. And now it's sort of defined all the guitars I've built after it in the way, and even the rebuilds that we do. The bracing design, which to me is the soul of the tone and the guitar sound, comes from the design of the bracing and the internal construction. And so...
how old is this one?
This one is 1982, so this is...
Wow.
What's funny about this guitar now is it's about as old as the pre-war Martins that we were lusting for when I was at Gruen's. When I was learning how to brace these guitars, this guitar is now as old as those guitars were then.
So now it's a nice aged
And
guitar.
so it's
aged nicely.
It's like...
Did you play that today?
That's what I played today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the name of the last song that you played today? Because that's what they're about to hear.
It was called Nobody to Call.
All right. Anything you want to say about that song?
That song wasn't on the record that we did. We wrote that song after we did that record, and I've just recently been working it into my solo set, and I really like the song because there's a lot of layers of meaning in that song. It's talking about a guy breaking down with his car, but it's really a lot deeper than that. And I think a lot of people can relate to the lyric on that song.
Well, Scott, thank you so much
for
coming up to Vega and having this chat.
Awesome, yeah, it's awesome out here.
All right, up next is Scott Baxendale's performance of, what was the name of the song?
Nobody to Call.
Nobody to Call. Next week, same place. Oh, wait. Go to our YouTube page and check out the other two songs in our Just the Music playlist.
Yeah.
You also had Kimberly Morgan accompany you,
Yes.
which she was last week's guest.
Yes.
And she's incredible, isn't she?
She's awesome. We love Kim.
Awesome. Go check out those two songs. Up next is Nobody to Call.
Nobody to Call.
Next week, same place, same time.
I always gave my all. I gave a pint of blood. Now I'm all broke down by the side of the road. I've come a long, long way. I've left some things behind in that great storage locker of my mind. And Tennessee is cold, deep down in the fall. Just off 24 and my motor has stalled. I've got nobody, 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 nobody I can call. No one at all. It feels like my world is a little too small. I've got a debt or two I decided not to pay, so consequently I ran away. I've got nobody, 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 nobody I can call. No one at all. No one at all. No one at all. Yes, there was a time a car was easily fixed, but now it's beyond my little bag of tricks. So I guess I'll rummage round to see what I can find in that gray storage locker of my mind.